Is Teonna expecting? The shocking twist that no one saw coming, setting the stage for chaos, heartbreak, and perhaps the ultimate betrayal. Episode 6 of 1923. Season 2 is about to explode with secrets, unspoken truths, and bloodshed. From unexpected reunions to life-altering moments, the Duttons' world is on the brink of a catastrophic shift. What happens next could change everything. Brace yourself. The episode begins with a heavy sense of foreboding. The vast Montana landscape offers a deceptive calm, while off in the distance, the ripple effects of the past are about to crash into the present. While we may not see much of the Dutton family in this particular episode, the story unfolding outside of Montana is growing more intense by the minute, and the Duttons will feel the tremors. The title of this episode alone, The Mountain Teeth of Mon Ers, hints at something sharp, something painful. It's the kind of episode where every move is calculated, every word carries weight, and every decision could lead to irreversible consequences. As we dive deeper into the plot, we realize that it's not just the land that's in danger, but the legacy that holds everything together, the very essence of what it means to be a Dutton. We focus on Teonna, a character whose journey has been as harrowing as it is personal. For those who have been following her story, you know that she's been running from a past she can't escape. Her father, Father Renault, and Marshal Kent have been chasing her relentlessly since late last season. The stakes have never been higher for Teonna, and in this episode, everything comes to a head. But just as things seem to be spiraling out of control for Teonna, there's a shift, a glimmer of hope. It's small, barely noticeable, but it's there. For a fleeting moment, Teonna believes she's finally out of their reach. Her father's words to her in the previous episode, "We are the last ones fighting," reverberate in her mind, reminding her of the legacy she's carrying. It's a heavy weight, but it's also a driving force that propels her forward. Meanwhile, Father Renault and Marshal Kent aren't giving up. In this episode, their pursuit reaches a pivotal point. After months of searching, they finally close in on Teonna and the group of cowboys she's been traveling with. The tension builds as Kent and Renault close in, inching ever closer to the prize they've been hunting. In a desperate attempt to evade them, Teonna, her father, and Pete ride across the plains. The terrain is unfamiliar, and they know they can't stay in one place for too long. Pete, ever the brave one, volunteers to go find water, but there's something about this stretch of land that doesn't feel right. His horse is skittish, reluctant to move forward. It's a quiet moment, but one that foreshadows the imminent danger ahead. As Pete rides off to find the watering hole, he stumbles upon a spot that should have been safe. But it's not. Renault and Kent are already there, waiting. They don't recognize Pete at first, but Kent's eyes narrow as he sizes him up. It's a game of cat and mouse now, and Kent is playing to win. In a tense standoff, Pete is cornered. He scrambles to defend himself, but the odds aren't in his favor. The scene unfolds with heart-pounding suspense. Pete's horse takes a tumble, sending him crashing to the ground. He struggles to reach for his gun, but in that critical moment, the screen goes black. The sound of gunshots rings out, and we're left to wonder, who was hit? Was it Pete? Kent? Or could it be both? With the screen fading to black, we're left hanging on the edge of our seats, uncertain of who will make it out alive. The uncertainty is deliberate, designed to keep us guessing, to make us question everything we thought we knew about these characters. Will Pete survive? Or is this the end of his story? The stakes are higher than ever, and we're left to theorize. Some believe both Pete and Kent are wounded, while others think the worst for Pete. Given the show's history of putting characters through intense trials, it's not hard to imagine that Pete might not make it. His death could be a turning point, pushing Teonna further into the wild, making her journey even more treacherous than before. And with her father's ominous words still lingering in her mind, it's clear that the bloodline of the Rainwaters is something worth protecting at all costs. But what if there's more to this than just a simple chase? What if Teonna is carrying a secret that no one expected? The possibility looms large that Teonna may be pregnant. Could she be unknowingly carrying Pete's child? It's a twist that would change everything for her, complicating her already dangerous path. As the episode unfolds, we'll continue to ask ourselves, what's next for Teonna? Is she truly alone, or is she carrying the next generation of the Rainwater legacy? Could this new life be the very thing that forces her to confront her past and her future in ways she never imagined? In the midst of all this chaos, the audience is left to ponder what happens next. How will Teonna react if she discovers the truth? And more importantly, what will the Duttons do when they find out about the threat that's closing in on their family? The questions keep piling up, and with each new revelation, the suspense only deepens. Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning of what promises to be an explosive episode. The calm of the Montana landscape gives way to the heavy tension of unresolved vendettas, and the world of 1923 begins to churn with an ominous energy. As the story progresses, we find Spencer facing an unanticipated encounter that could change the course of his journey forever. While he might not be the central focus of this episode, his role will prove to be crucial in setting up the dramatic finale. After enduring so much loss, Spencer's return to Montana is now inevitable, but the journey there won't be easy. Stranded and alone, Spencer is found by Em, a fierce female marshal who has her own set of reasons for being in pursuit of those who have crossed lines. Em, unlike the other lawmen we've encountered, isn't swayed by the authority she represents. She is a woman driven by personal convictions, and her focus is on the crimes of Father Renaud and Marshal Kent, crimes that are tied to the Comanche children and the darker corners of the world they inhabit. When she discovers Spencer, near death from dehydration, her initial reaction isn't one of sympathy, but of cautious evaluation. Spencer, in his weakened state, is now faced with an interrogation that could seal his fate. But as it turns out, Spencer isn't the criminal Em expected. She quickly uncovers that Spencer, unbeknownst to him, is a decorated hero, having earned a Congressional Medal of Honor for a service he doesn't even remember. This revelation serves as a fleeting moment of relief for Spencer, but Em remains skeptical. Her professionalism doesn't allow for emotional attachments, but there's something about Spencer's situation that calls her to action. In a twist of fate, after making a phone call to the sheriff's office in Amarillo, Em confirms Spencer's identity, dispelling any suspicion of wrongdoing. For a moment, it seems like Spencer might catch a break. He has no further charges against him, and the relentless pursuit of his family's enemies seems to ease. But just as quickly as the relief settles in, a new complication arises. The sheriff warns Spencer not to return to Montana. The tension surrounding Spencer's name is too dangerous, and it's clear that the Duttons' presence in the world is no longer one of protection, but of provocation. The sheriff believes that Spencer is walking into a hornet's nest, and his return could escalate the violence that has already taken root. Spencer, however, has other plans. His mind is made up. He refuses to be intimidated or deterred. The weight of his family's legacy pulls him forward, and he makes it clear that his return to Montana isn't just to seek refuge, but to settle scores and defend what's his. The sheriff's warning isn't enough to stop him. Spencer's resolve is unwavering, and by the end of the episode, he boards a train bound for Montana. Yet, with Spencer's track record, it's safe to assume that his journey won't be a straightforward one. This is 1923, and for every step forward, the Duttons are forced to face the consequences of their choices. Spencer's train ride, while seemingly a simple transition, holds the potential for catastrophe. Given the danger and unpredictability surrounding Spencer, we can only wonder if his fate is sealed before he even sets foot back on Dutton soil. A train derailment, an ambush, or worse, could derail his mission before it even truly begins. What's more troubling is the lingering question: can Spencer even survive the journey back? His life has been defined by hardship, and each chapter seems to deliver more pain than the last. But this time, it's different. He's not just coming back for a family reunion, he's coming back to settle a score that has been building for years. A war is inevitable, and Spencer knows it. The world around him is escalating faster than he can keep up, and the stakes are higher than ever. Will Spencer make it back to Montana in time to protect the ranch, or will his return be thwarted by the chaos that's already brewing? The suspense is unbearable, and with each passing moment, it seems less likely that Spencer's safe arrival is a guarantee. Back at the Dutton Ranch, Jacob and the family are facing their own version of impending doom. While Spencer's fate is still uncertain, Jacob's determination to protect the land and his family is more resolute than ever. In a tense exchange with Sheriff McDowell, Jacob makes it clear that war is inevitable. The tension between the Duttons and the growing opposition is reaching a boiling point. The sheriff may have his doubts, but Jacob knows that the weight of their past actions has built something unstoppable. This is where the stakes truly start to shift. Jacob is not the man to back down from a fight, and the tension between him and the law, represented by Sheriff McDowell, reveals the growing fractures within the community. The sheriff's attempt to persuade Jacob to de-escalate feels futile. The Duttons have already crossed a line, and now there's no turning back. As the episode unfolds, we're left wondering, will the Duttons finally pay the price for their actions, or will they find a way to survive and continue fighting for their legacy? And as the conflict inches closer to an inevitable clash, what does Spencer's return mean for the ranch? The questions continue to pile up, and the answers are elusive, creating a thick cloud of tension that hangs over every character, every decision, and every movement. The next chapter of 1923 promises to bring an explosive collision of past grudges, unresolved conflicts, and secrets that could unravel everything. With every passing second, the suspense only intensifies, leaving us eager to find out just how deep the Duttons' fight will go. One thing is certain, this is just the beginning, and the fallout from these events will shake the very foundation of their world. While Spencer's journey is fraught with danger, there's another story unfolding that demands attention. Alex's journey, one that takes her into the heart of unexpected danger and forces her to confront both her past trauma and her resilience. In the aftermath of her terrifying mugging in the previous episode, Alex continues her journey, though far from safe and even further from finding peace. She's just another casualty in the web of chaos that 1923 weaves. But her fight is far from over. Her travel across the country takes a turn for the worse when she finds herself stranded, penniless, and unable to purchase food after all her money was stolen. It's a gut-wrenching position, but just when it seems like she's lost everything, fate offers her a sliver of hope. The manager of the dining car, an unexpected figure, takes pity on Alex. In a rare moment of kindness, he offers her a job as a waitress in exchange for meals. It's a gesture that could seem too good to be true in such a brutal world, but Alex, desperate and hungry, accepts. In the midst of this temporary reprieve, Alex believes she's found a small oasis, a brief moment of safety in the storm. But 1923 isn't kind to its characters, and just as quickly as the relief comes, disaster strikes once again. The world, it seems, is never content to leave Alex in peace. One of the male passengers on the train, a predator who has been lurking beneath the surface of this seemingly routine journey, forces Alex into a harrowing situation. His advances are crude, aggressive, and relentless, but this time, Alex is ready to fight back. This is where the story takes a powerful turn. Alex, pushed to her limits, takes action. In a split second, she douses the predator with hot coffee, knocking him unconscious with the coffee pot. It's a bold and violent move, one that shows Alex is no longer willing to be the victim. She has had enough. Her bravery is undeniable. This is the very definition of a Dutton move: to fight back, to survive, no matter the cost. But, as is often the case in this world, her victory comes with a price. Alex is arrested. The predator, now unconscious, is no longer a threat, but the law sees things differently. The tables have turned once again, and Alex, despite being the victim in this scenario, now finds herself in even greater peril. As her fate hangs in the balance, a lifeline appears in the form of a British couple, Paul and Hilary, whom Alex had previously befriended on the train. They step forward, vouching for Alex, explaining to the authorities that they had witnessed the assault. The police, though reluctant at first, have no choice but to release Alex. It's a bittersweet victory. Alex is freed from the immediate danger, but the emotional scars from the attack remain. However, just as Alex thinks she can breathe a sigh of relief, another problem arises. Her train has been canceled, and with no money and nowhere to go, Alex finds herself in a precarious situation. That's when Paul and Hilary, in an unexpected twist, offer Alex a place to stay. They invite her to their home in WIA, a suburban area of Chicago. It's an offer that might seem like a reprieve, a chance for Alex to rest, recover, and regroup. But there's something unsettling about the situation. Anyone who has been watching 1923 closely knows that things are rarely as they seem. Could Paul and Hilary, this seemingly kind couple, have an ulterior motive? Their wealth and position raise suspicions, particularly since Alex has just been through a harrowing experience with an unscrupulous passenger. Could they be connected to Whitfield, or worse, involved in something far darker than they let on? The feeling of unease lingers in the air, and as Alex contemplates the offer, it's clear she doesn't fully trust them. Could this act of kindness be another trap waiting to close in on her? The episode expertly plays with this tension, leaving the audience wondering if Alex is stepping into the arms of genuine help or into a web of deceit. As she contemplates her next move, she knows that no one is truly safe in this world, and kindness is often a mask for something more dangerous. Alex is caught between two worlds, the safe, welcoming one that could be a refuge, and the violent, unpredictable one that has already cost her so much. In the meantime, the episode continues to build on the growing sense of dread. While Alex grapples with the fallout of her attack and the offer of help from Paul and Hillary, her next steps are unclear. Trust is something she's lost, and with each new encounter, she's forced to face the reality that the world she lives in is as cruel as it is unpredictable. No one can escape the looming storm of violence and betrayal for long, and Alex is right in the middle of it. Is she truly safe now, or is the invitation to WIA just another trap set for her? With so many questions swirling around this couple, it's hard to tell. What is their real motivation, and how much should Alex trust them? As the episode moves forward, the tension mounts. Will Alex find safety, or will she be forced to face yet another predator? This time one disguised as a friend. In 1923, safety is fleeting, and every act of kindness has a price. The suspense builds as Alex's next chapter unfolds. And with each passing moment, the threat becomes more real. Will she find a way to escape the web that's been spun around her, or will this seemingly innocent invitation turn into another nightmare from which there's no escape? The audience, on edge, will be left asking, can anyone really be trusted in a world like this? And as Alex's story intersects with the growing chaos in the Dutton world, we can't help but wonder how far-reaching the consequences of her decisions will be. Will she be the one to break free, or will she too be swallowed by the storm? As the tension builds and the world of 1923 continues to twist with each episode, one of the most captivating storylines centers around Teonna Rainwater, whose journey is marked by pain, loss, and an uncertain future. Her path, fraught with obstacles and danger, has been one of survival, surviving the brutality of the past, the violence in the present, and the weight of her legacy. In episode 6, Teonna's story takes a darker turn, one that could change her life and her family's future forever. The episode dives deeper into Teonna's psyche as she grapples with the horrors of her past. After fleeing Father Renaud and Marshall Kent, her journey has been defined by a constant need to hide, to run, to protect herself and those she loves. But as we've seen throughout the season, the past isn't easily outrun. The forces chasing her are relentless, and the world outside of Montana continues to close in on her. In episode 6, Teonna's fate becomes even more uncertain. We begin to see a shift in Teonna's character. She's not just a victim anymore, she's becoming something else. Her father's words continue to echo in her mind. "We are the last ones fighting." This line is pivotal. It speaks to the broader narrative of survival and legacy. The Rainwater family, in the face of overwhelming odds, has always been about persistence, fighting for survival, fighting for the land, fighting for what is rightfully theirs. But Teonna, in this moment, begins to question the cost of that fight. What is she really fighting for, and is it worth the sacrifice? As the episode unfolds, we witness Teonna's internal struggle. She finds herself at a crossroads, torn between continuing her fight and potentially finding peace. Yet peace seems impossible for someone who's been relentlessly hunted for so long. Her fate seems bound to the violent, unforgiving forces that pursue her. Forces that are more than just physical. They're tied to her bloodline, her legacy, and her very identity. The Rainwater name carries weight, but it also carries danger. But then, in an unexpected twist, a new layer of Teonna's story emerges. Could Teonna, perhaps unknowingly, be carrying a child? The possibility arises in this episode as the viewer is led to question whether Teonna might be pregnant, a revelation that would shake her world to its core. Throughout the series, we've seen Teonna struggle with the weight of her actions, her trauma, and the violence she's experienced. The notion of carrying a child adds another level of complexity to her journey. Teonna's relationship with Pete, although not fully explored, has always been marked by a sense of connection, one that is cut short by the violence surrounding them. If she is pregnant, it would add an entirely new dimension to her character's motivations. Is she fighting to protect her unborn child, or is she struggling with the idea of motherhood in a world that offers no peace? The reveal of her pregnancy, whether it's confirmed or simply a growing suspicion, opens up a slew of questions. Will Teonna have the strength to survive the dangerous world around her, not only for herself, but for a child that could represent both hope and danger in equal measure? As Teonna begins to process the possibility of motherhood, she's forced to confront her father's words once again. The Rainwater legacy has always been about fighting for survival, but now it might be about more than that. Could her child be the future of the Rainwater family, the heir to a legacy that Teonna herself might not fully understand? Or, on the other hand, could her pregnancy be the final link that ensures her destruction? The weight of this possibility is almost unbearable for Teonna, and the audience can't help but wonder how she will handle the revelation if it comes to light. But there's another factor at play: the relentless pursuit of Father Renaud and Marshal Kent. As they close in on Teonna, their role in her fate is far from over. In episode 6, their presence becomes more threatening than ever. Their pursuit of Teonna has been personal from the beginning, fueled by a combination of obsession, hatred, and a desire for control. Their mission is clear. They will not stop until they have Teonna in their grasp. As the episode progresses, the tension mounts. Teonna's fate seems sealed as she faces down her past, her enemies, and the potential revelation of her pregnancy. Every move she makes, every decision, becomes a question of survival. Her world is collapsing, and the possibility of bringing new life into this unforgiving world seems almost impossible. But that's the very essence of 1923. Life and death intertwine in a constant cycle of pain, survival, and the struggle for power.